I find it difficult to do much of anything these days. Every day is a fight for me, for simply to maintain my sanity, and oftentimes to maintain my sobriety, and sometimes even just to keep breathing. Things have been difficult. My whole life, I had always leaned on my family for support and guidance. I grew up in a Marine Corps family. We moved around quite a bit, and we never lived anywhere near where our relatives lived. So I did quite a bit of traveling. The only constant theme in my life, still to this day, is constant change. But no matter where I went in the world or what I did, my family was always my rock. And when I came out to them earlier in 2012, as both queer and transgender, I was basically told that I would only be welcome in their home from that point forward if I continued to act as I had been pretending for many years, that these things were not true of me. When I lost that, I lost quite a bit. It still hurts. I'm constantly filled with anger every day. I am still trying to figure out how to deal with my pain. The pain of having fallen out with my family. The pain of knowing that that I gave my own blood, sweat, and tears alongside my brothers, and did everything that I was asked to do as best as I could, just as they did alongside them. And to be told by some people that they can't believe that someone gave me the rank of sergeant, or that someone allowed me to put on the uniform of a Marine, simply because there are things about me that are a little bit different. My conduct didn't seem to matter at all. I'm surrounded by many people these days. It's difficult to tell who is what anymore. I have a very difficult time trying to figure out who I can trust, as my trust was implicitly given and almost without fail betrayed in gross amounts in the past. There's very few people I've come to feel that that I can allow myself to open up and let my feelings out around. I still have to practice that behavior I learned in the Marine Corps of shutting off my emotions and doing my best not to stand out, simply because at this point I don't know any other way, and each day is a constant struggle to figure out how to deal with emotions that I have pretended for so long did not exist. Every day for me is literally a fight to continue living, and I'm doing my best to stay in that fight. I believe that the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, or ENDA for short as it's being called, will do quite a bit to help not just LGBT service members in general, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, but also I believe that it will give transgender service members a bit better chance of getting things moved forward in the right direction, to the point where the only thing that they'll be judged by will be their conduct as individuals, as people, and service members. I was sent to a residential substance abuse rehabilitation program, or rehab as it's commonly called, or also SARP. And something that they focus on quite a bit, what at the SARP program, I attended one at Point Loma Naval Base here in California, is not just the substance abuse itself, but the reasons why you abuse the substance. It was very difficult for me going through that program, surrounded by so many fellow service members from every branch. Very frustrating going through the rehab program, seeing that my fellow service members around me were able to address in the different forms of therapy that they have at that program, the reasons why they abuse whichever substance landed in there. And the whole time I couldn't talk about what was going on with me. People tried to tell me, fellow patients, staff, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers, assorted, mental health, medical staff, tried to tell me that the issues that I was dealing with were not the focus of the program, and the focus of the program was to get me to quit using or abusing the substance that I was, which in my case was alcohol. And I found that very frustrating when we were told explicitly to go into to the pain, expose that, and learn how to live with it, so that we no longer feel driven to destroy ourselves as we had. Civilian attire was authorized to wear during the program, outside of business hours. And one day I decided to have a little fun with it and get a little bit more adventurous. There were several openly homosexual males and females going through the program at the same time as me, and everybody just saw me as part of that crowd, but I wasn't able to ever talk about what was actually going on with me. It seems there's quite a few people out there that don't seem to understand that gender identity is not in itself a sexual orientation. And because I differed in some way as regards to gender or sex, or in a way that did not conform to traditional gender roles, naturally I was just lumped in as just another silly gay male. So since everyone in the program already thought of me as just a gay male, and I figured I might be able to get away with dressing a little bit non-conventional for my traditional recognized gender anyway. I decided one day, just for fun and because I thought it honestly wouldn't matter, to wear some female clothing. The clothing that I wore was within regulations of the UCMJ and the United States Marine Corps. I was not wearing a dress or a skirt or anything outlandish, really. I was wearing a shirt, a t-shirt, a blouse on top of that, a pair of jeans, and a belt, garments that had actually been tailored for, made for a female body. I had actually purchased these garments at a Marine Corps exchange, and no one said a word to me about it. The garments were all properly fitting. I showed no inappropriate skin. But because there were flowers on the blouse that I wore, and because the pants were not of a cut typically seen worn by males, it was immediately recognized that I was wearing female clothing. And it was strongly suggested to me by many staff members of the program that I change clothing. I got a lot of dirty looks and even some not so professional or kind comments from not just staff members but my peers as well, service members of all ranks, regarding my attire. My attire did fall within the regulations of what is considered appropriate civilian attire for a U.S. Marine, but because it had flowers on it, it was unacceptable. The problem that I see with this is it brings it all open to a matter of interpretation for one's seniors and peers, in this case even, to decide what is and is not appropriate fashion for any person, regardless of their gender. If a female service member